that RFK Jr. is decimating public health and should step down as Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Hello there,
Hello,
Mike.
hello.
Dr. Mike.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How do you feel about my claim?
I think your claim is absurd because we've got someone that is actually challenging, which is science. I mean, science is about scrutiny, not Orwellian obedience. And if we want to find the truth, we should always have both sides of the story and, check out both sides and then find what the truth is.
That's interesting because in some ways I agree with your statement. We should absolutely be skeptical, and science is about proving our initial thoughts wrong. When we do research, for example, we try and look at not just our hypothesis of what we think is going to happen. We actually try to prove the null hypothesis. We actually try to design research that disagrees with us. So I'm curious why you think Secretary Kennedy right now is the correct pick versus what you claim to be the other side.
Let's put it this way. We had to live through the medical tyranny of COVID, and his organization, Children's Health Defense, was on the front line of pushing back against that tyranny. I was part of that. I did protests, and I started a rally in Beverly Hills that was very popular. By the end of the year, we had 4,000 to 6,000 people marching through the streets saying, enough is enough. They first, like Fauci, told us, the masks don't work. And then, you need to wear a mask. And then it was 2 masks. So again, the goalposts just kept moving and moving. And we knew it was just baloney. I mean, anybody can smell a rat. And, we just see a lot of the same pattern, like during HIV, for instance. Remember that Bactrim, the NIH and the government were demonizing this with doctors. And then we find out that it actually does help HIV. But they didn't want to cure because they wanted to push AZT, which made a lot of money for Big Pharma. Same thing happened during COVID. And we had 2 doctors here in California that had a 99% success rate. Okay, it was Brian Tyson and George Fareed. And they had 7,000 patients that they helped. 99%, which is better than the COVID-19 shot, because once we saw people taking those shots, we saw people dropping like flies.
I feel like we took a lot of topics there and we try to put them together, so it's going to be difficult for me to reply to you. Let's start with the idea of moving the goalposts.
Okay.
So, in science, we're always learning, right? As a doctor, the things that I recommend today will likely change in 10 years and 20 years, because as knowledge evolves, we're going to make new recommendations. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say, but this is months, okay? And we know that a virus is 0.3 micron. We see the holes in the mask. You really think that that's going to hold a virus? I mean, we see what virologists wear. It's like a spacesuit.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. I love that you point out the particle size. And there's actually a unique principle with particle movements, that the reason why N95 masks actually work quite well for the COVID virus, because even when something is smaller than the size of the mask, the pores within the mask, the way that those particles move actually makes them more readily captured by that mask. Isn't that interesting how sometimes what we perceive to be the logical answer sometimes can be disproven in science? And this goes to show in the same way that we made mistakes in the past.
Well, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because they were putting masks on people. So now bacteria is gigantic compared to a virus. We know that, right?
Very large.
And my friend, by the way, was a biology research professor at UCLA. So I've learned a lot from him. And, he went to a very established school, Cambridge University. And that's what he dealt with. That's why he said, this is nonsense. So I'm going to listen to the experts, which is Dr. Elliot Hamoff, and look at, people were getting sick and worse when they were wearing masks because they were forcing themselves to breathe the very bacteria that was dangerous.
So when I'm in the hospital and I'm treating patients who have COVID-19, for example, I wear an N95 mask. You think I'm wearing that mask to potentially make myself more sick instead of protecting myself from the patient who has COVID-19?
Well, I believe that you believe that it works, you know. I believe that you believe that because the medical industry, I believe, has been corrupt for a long time.
What makes it corrupt?
Well, there's an interest, you know, that people have special interest. You know, it's a revolving door. When you look at a lot of these NIH or NIAID, you know, these people have been funded by Big Pharma, and then they go in the medical industry. So to me, that shows corruption.
So if someone is funded by Big Pharma, does that automatically make them corrupt?
Not necessarily, because there are honest people, but the fact that they censored, even Mark Zuckerberg was asked in the Senate floor if he was being, you know, coerced by the government to shut down free speech when it came to COVID. We had a friend who, her best friend died of COVID shots, 2 of them, and she had these huge boils all over her legs. And they sent her home. They did not report with VAERS that was that. They actually didn't want to even talk about it, which shows me corruption. Then I had a friend, Dr. Simone Gold, that was treating patients with early treatment, and the Master of Business Association comes to her, which doesn't have a medical license, and threatened to fire her, which she did. She got fired. That is called medical tyranny.
Was it paused? Voted out. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you,
Okay.
yes.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want, and watch it take shape. You can plan, customize, and expand in any direction. From tools built for one, to platforms ready for many. From passion projects to enterprise-grade systems. Everything is built in and ready to launch. It's a new world of creation, where you can go as far as your imagination takes you. Can you imagine it? Let's make your dream a reality right now.
It's a Dim Rain song. Forgot. I think it's Evolution, right?
Hello, sir. How are you? Pleasure, Brian. Nice to meet you.
So I have a few questions to start with, just because I want to make sure that we're actually debating the topic that you would like to debate. To say that he's decimating public health, are there specific measures that you would like to cover to talk about that you believe constitutes the decimation?
Yeah, so
That is so
where do we
sick.
start? In order to do good public health, in order for me to know what treatments are right for my patients, we need to do research. And currently, the NIH, the CDC budgets for research have been absolutely decimated by billions of dollars. In fact, I wrote down a few of them and we would like to share it because I think it's valuable to talk about. So we're not talking in abstract.
Okay.
For research, we've terminated $3.8 billion into cancer, HIV, ALS, and maternal health, important subjects. The entire NIH CDC budgets have been cut in half. We've created an issue where in the Environmental Protection Agency for the Office of Research, we fired over 1,000 scientists who do that research to figure out if there's toxic pollutants that cause negative health outcomes. We've cut the CDC branch for environmental health tracking for lead and water safety. We've canceled NIH diabetes prevention program that ran for 30 years. And we've eliminated the federal newborn screening advisory committee. So that's just a few.
Okay. So considering all of that, before when we had all of that money, where did that get us? Look at the state of Americans' health, and you tell me that the public is actually healthy. What RFK is doing is he is saying enough is enough, something has to change. And I will say this very politely, but I think that you have to be insane to say more